analyst from Queen's University, Belfast. Great to have you here with us on TRT World. So let me begin by asking you, how can serious negotiations on a prisoner exchange even proceed when both sides can't even agree on basic timing and continue to attack each other? Does this not expose how broken diplomatic channels are between Russia and Ukraine?
Not necessarily, because they already done a very large exchange of prisoners last time, when the first time they met in Istanbul. So they exchanged 1,000 prisoners each. So when there is a willingness on both sides, it clearly can work. Obviously, there is some things gone wrong this time within the background of escalation by Ukraine of attacking Russian strategic bombers a few days ago. Russia wants to proceed. Maybe they don't want to proceed in a kind of agreed way. I don't know. You can't really know what's really is going on, because you listen to each side and each side is blaming each other. But I think fundamentally, when there is a common interest in exchanging of prisoners, exchange of bodies, I mean, Russia is claiming to want to return about 6,000 bodies of Ukrainian soldiers to Ukraine. Ukraine might not, seems to be not too happy about it. But anyway, the bottom line is, where there is a common interest, that we will agree. At the moment, there seems to be a pause in it, but I think eventually the exchange will happen.
And let me ask you what I asked my correspondent out of Moscow. What do you think the future holds for direct talks between Russia and Ukraine, given that there has been a major escalation when it comes to attacks, and also now the postponement of this prisoner exchange?
Well, I think, as I said, if there is a common interest, and these exchanges and indirect talks have been going on for all this time, through all the years. So through the Middle East intermediaries, now there are through established more direct contacts through after the talks in Istanbul. So basically, both sides want to do prisoner exchanges. There's been exchanges of bodies which heavily tilted in Russia's favors. Russia returning about 10 times as more bodies than Ukraine is, partly because Russia is, advancing. Apparently, this 6,000, most of them are coming from Kursk, according to Ukrainian sources. So that sort of scale of losses Ukraine suffered in that debacle. But I think it's easier to have a direct contact between them on a technical level, for things which both sides want to do, but at the same time, I wouldn't read too much into it, in the sense that fundamentally on really issues which really matters in terms of how to end this war, the sides are as wide apart as ever been. So the technical talks might continue, but that's not going to lead to any breakthrough in more fundamental areas.
Alexander, if you look at the bigger picture right now, the more Russians and Ukrainians are meeting, the worse the situation is getting on the ground. Because over the past, since they started to meet directly, we have seen massive attacks taking place both in Russia and Ukraine. So I wonder if direct talks are going to pave the way for a permanent peace between the two countries, or something else is required at this point.
Well, talks are secondary to what's happening on the ground, and I think what's happening on the ground will determine how the talks will proceed. So Russia is having kind of momentum on the ground. It has, as Putin says, strategic initiative. It is advancing in areas. It has a clear war aims in terms of recapturing the territory it claims as its own. It's also pushing in the north around Sumy, regional capital of Ukraine, which they probably will start besieging or have direct contact over in the coming weeks or months. Ukraine is trying to kind of punch back through this kind of very symbolic and effective strikes, but that doesn't change the whole dynamic. So Russia is advancing. When it's advancing, there's no incentive for it to stop and give anything to Ukraine. Ukraine, at the same time, if it is slowly retreating, it's not really at the point where it's completely collapsed. So it still tries to punch back and hoping that something will change in terms of Russian economy, but in terms of more sanctions, in terms of oil collapsing, in terms of Trump getting annoyed with Putin and sending lots of weapons to Ukraine and so forth. So both sides are playing for time. At the moment, the time seems to be on the Russian side. So I think unless Ukraine is ready to really offer substantial concessions, which essentially Ukraine says is de facto decapitulation, Russia will not be interested in any kind of negotiations until then.
Alexander Titov, thanks very much for joining me here on TR2 World. Appreciate your taking out the time.